Lee Roggenberg, Florida Lacrosse News. Welcome to the show. Not really sure. I keep thinking I'm hitting go live, and yet it takes me back to a studio page. So sorry for that. I will be a little bit more careful going forward with that. So here we are live. Welcome to the broadcast. A little bit lighter news day over the last 2 days. Not really much. Didn't get anything in on a new recruit commitment, so don't have anything there. First of all, let's take care of the bookkeeping. Subscribe to the channel, please. We certainly appreciate and need all we can get going forward. Like the videos if you do so. Remember, we have marketing and advertising opportunities across our whole platform. We've put out our first proposal, or getting ready to put our first proposal right now, and future looks very bright for sharing our demographic with our readership and with our viewership. So hop aboard and get in touch with us. We first thing that came in was brought to date. I knew this was true, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. Stoneman Douglas High School is also looking for head coaches, both on the boys and the girls side. It's an interesting program. It's had success in the past. There is certainly enough interest in the high school. So if you're interested in those jobs, get in contact with the school, ask for the athletic director, and good luck. University of North Florida, the Ospreys MCLA program announced they're holding an alumni weekend on October 7th to 9th. So if you've played in the past, and even if you're just a student up there now, get out there and support the Ospreys. It's one of the better nicknames around in the lacrosse world. Kaiser Prospect Day on the men's side is going to be October 8th on the campus. Get in touch with head coach Patrick Johnson if you need information and sign up. We have, there was a cute video. I saw it on Lacrosse Playground's Twitter feed. There was a feature done, I guess, in the on one of the news stations in the Atlanta area on Jared Bernhardt and his background. It was over 3 minutes. And it's a very interesting watch, talking about his lacrosse background in detail and then tying it into trying out with the Falcons right now. But an interesting tidbit that was mentioned is that the Atlanta Falcons head coach, Arthur Smith, played a little bit of lacrosse in high school at Georgetown Prep. Those of you who know the Georgetown Prep program know that if you get on the field there, you've shown something. So it's kind of interesting, and maybe that's a little bit part of why Atlanta also decided to sign Jared. PLL schedule coming up this weekend. All 4 games are going to be on ESPN+. They're in the Tacoma Dome out in Tacoma, Washington. It's a very nice facility. I remember it from the past. Those who remember the NC State basketball championship, excuse me, would know that that was where the first 2 games of that miracle run occurred. Saturday, 7 p.m., Chrome versus Redwoods. At 9:30 p.m., Archers versus Water Dogs, both Eastern Standard Time. Sunday at 3 p.m., Whip Snakes and Cannons. Sunday at 5:30 p.m., Atlas and Chaos. I suspect that the Cannons are probably in a must-win situation on that, even though they trail Chaos by 1 game. I'm not sure Cannons and Chaos play again the rest of the year. And Cannons have got to get another win to even have a chance at qualifying for the playoffs. One of the things I noticed also in the transaction section that IMG grad Tehoka Nanticote was released by his PLL team, and he's back in the player pool. I don't know if he's been picked up for this week or not. I didn't see anything beyond that. Point leaders in the league: Lyle Thompson at 39, Brendan Nichtern 35, Jeff Teat at 35. Pretty good race coming out of the wire. Interesting tweet that I noticed about Lyle saying, playing on the last place team, does that hurt him for MVP? My personal opinion is, yeah, probably. I mean, most valuable is, depending on the league and how you sort of interpret it, is it really the best player in the league, or is it just who's been the most valuable player to their team? And it's kind of hard when you're in last place to make that case, at least in my opinion. Those who remember, there's only been one Heisman Trophy winner with a team with a losing record, and that was back, I think, in 1958 when Paul Hornung won it for Notre Dame. And there was an awful lot of controversy about that one, I remember. World under 21s. Okay, we're down to the final four in the top bracket. Yesterday's quarterfinals, the USA 21-3 over Puerto Rico, Canada 17-7 over Ireland, Australia 8-6 over Japan. And there was a little controversy at the end of the Haudenosaunee-England game, which Haudenosaunee won 7-5. 2 stick checks were called for in the last minute by England. Both were actually successful challenges. And then there was a, shall we say, a light hit that was also called a penalty in that last minute. So the Haudenosaunee had to defend 6-on-3 in the last minute with the 2-goal lead, but managed to hold off England and keep them off the scoreboard. So we're down to, I believe it's going to be Australia and Canada at 4 p.m. today, and USA Haudenosaunee at 7:30 p.m. today. I didn't check the TV broadcasts on that, but I think that those might be ESPN Plus broadcasts too. If not, Lax Sports Network would be having the games. I want to congratulate Inside Lacrosse on their coverage of the event. They've really done a nice job digging deep into this and covering an awful lot of it, not just the top teams either. Yeah, good job, Terry, and all the rest of you up there. Consolation bracket at the Worlds: Israel will be playing Japan, Germany, Ireland, Czech Republic, and Puerto Rico. And I've got Jamaica, but I don't have the 8th team listed yet. And then in the bottom bracket, the platinum bracket, Sweden and Hong Kong, and Korea and the Netherlands. And again, another kind of interesting Twitter clip on the Hong Kong team. Those who are familiar with Joseph Tsai, the man who runs Alibaba America, and also has quite the lacrosse background, is one of the funders of PLL, owns a couple of NLL programs, teams. His son scored for Hong Kong. Very nice Twitter highlight on there. So if you see a chance, go catch a look at it. High school football starting today all around the state of Florida. Bringing it up because Varsity Sports Network released their top 25 for the state. IMG at the top, Chaminade, Madonna. I think one of the Miami teams, was it Miami Northwestern at 3, and then St. Thomas at 4, and Tampa Jesuit at 5. And I'm mentioning that because two of the 8 teams in the Final Four for lacrosse this year also are very highly ranked football programs. And sometimes there's a perception that the 2 teams can't, or the 2 sports can't really coexist. And I think I've mentioned before that in this state, spring football tends to start the week after our Final Four is over, and more of the football coaches are sort of opening their eyes to what a lacrosse background can also do for their players, and vice versa. If you're a defensive back and you have a long pole on defense in lacrosse, you are certainly getting in plenty of reps on how to use your feet, use your balance, perception, being able to split your attention between, say, the quarterback and the wide receiver. There's an awful lot that is good for playing more than one sport, as we've mentioned over the time. And I also noticed as they went down the rest of the top 25, there are plenty of lacrosse programs that are pretty good in there too. Columbus was ranked, Western Davie, Cardinal Gibbons. I'm sure there's a couple of others outside my area that are in that ranking that also have nice lacrosse. I'm sorry, nice lacrosse programs. So, there's definitely a crossover, and certainly worth uh, all those coaches out there on the football side. Keep opening your eyes. Believe me, you're going to have a better athlete on your football team if you let them also play lacrosse. Um, Wanted to finish, every so often I like to sort of remind you of where to find lacrosse content in the state besides here. Obviously, Tampa Lax Report is at the top of that list, along with Lax 904. Tampa Lax Report entirely a website, and entirely or mostly through Twitter is where I picked them up on. They do a wonderful job in their locale. They do break news frequently. Certainly the commits, a number of the commits that have come through, they've picked up on first. And Lax 904, Ray Carnicelli, his Sunday morning 10 a.m., I believe, broadcast online and on the radio station up there. Just does a wonderful job, has been doing an awful lot for years. He certainly predates me coming aboard, and certainly you should be checking out on with him every so often. Brevard Sports Network has certainly stepped it up quite a bit with their lacrosse coverage. Varsity Sports Network, we were on a conference Zoom with them on Tuesday, and I can tell you that their plans for ramping up lacrosse coverage even more than we did last summer is very exciting news for the rest of the lacrosse world down here. Just to, they're in negotiation. I'm not going to, speculate beyond that. They're in negotiation with the FHSAA to take over broadcast coverage of our Final Four. And I can tell you that that would be remarkable news and would certainly be a high-end approach, very similar to what we used to have years ago with Bright House and do not get with the NFHS. And so let's keep our fingers crossed that they do get the rights to broadcast the Final Four. I would certainly be a major part of that coverage. And I can tell you that they also have plans. For those of you who are familiar with the media days in high school sports, one of the things we discussed was a multi-day across the state media coverage preseason, just like they do with football. I believe they did it with volleyball. I'm sure they do it with basketball and other sports too. But the exciting potential of exponentially growing the coverage that VSN will provide to the sport. And that's another reason why I mentioned the marketing and advertising opportunities, because I can tell you that the funding that we raise, both for us and for them, is absolutely going to be critical in their gauging of future content coverage. Not that they're going to gauge it entirely on that, but the scope and the amount of coverage, including off season. Let's not forget, we didn't do anything this year in the off season with them yet. And I can tell you that as they build out their contacts around the state with production facilities, which they are doing so. For instance, Palm Beach Atlantic looks like it's going to have a firm relationship with them going forward for production. We're going to try to find other people to help them. They've already found it in Tallahassee and a couple of other locations. And I can tell you that the growth in the viewership at VSN is extraordinary. And we're going to be a major part of it too. So please, if you are smart about it, take the long view and take a look at what they have to offer and what we have to offer. And there are going to be, I'll mention some others maybe on Tuesday that have gone out of their way to also help cover the sport, but I wanted to make sure to get them out in front of you. So let's take our sip. Remember, subscribe to the video or to the channel. Like the videos if you do so. Follow us on Twitter at FloridaLX, on Facebook at FLALAX, one of these days I'll find someone to do Instagram for us. Let's always remember, grow the game, respect the game, honor the game. This is Lee Roggenberg, Florida Lacrosse News, wishing you a great weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday morning. So long from the Sunshine State.